presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
It is a beautiful night for baseball in Milwaukee, and it's beautiful because the roof is closed. They had some rain late, but that hasn't slowed down the tailgating going on here tonight. And we are ready for baseball, and their Brewers right here are right in the midst of big things in that wild card race. Hi again, everybody, alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brandler, and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Cowboy, when you're in the hunt, and you've played all year long, and now you're going to try to get there with 1 week to go. Does it get any better than that?
I don't think so. I think this is the most fun that you can have in a professional sport, the drive to get to the championship series and get to the wild card or win your division. But for the Brewers right now, they're closer in the wild card than they are anything to catching the Cubs. But if you start thinking too far ahead, you forget about what's going on today. And for the Brewers right now, you forget about tomorrow. It's only about today, as if this was the last game of your season. You play it for today. You hope that you get some help from either the Marlins or the Dodgers against the Rockies, and then you have to take care of business today and worry about tomorrow when it comes.
You know what's amazing about this season series? Early in the year, Milwaukee dominated the Reds. The last time they played, the Reds swept them.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference, the way that runs are scored in this series. We've seen it for years and years. This is always an offensive series. Now, in that three-game series, September 4th, 5th, and 6th, the Reds were crushing the baseball. They were hitting home runs at a beautiful rate. I mean, they scored 21 runs in those ball games. I mean, that's what you have to have in this series.
Let's talk about tonight's starter. I don't think Deck McGuire in a million years thought he'd be starting a Major League Baseball game this year yet. The former #1 pick of Toronto will start it tonight. First big league start.
Yeah, he's a guy that was a 2010 first-round pick from the Toronto Blue Jays. And if you think about it, this guy started in Double-A. But that's also where Tyler Mahle started. It's also where Luis Castillo started. And we know all about how well they pitch. Tough act to follow for Deck McGuire.
Meanwhile, Zach Davies, what a year he's having for the Brewers.
Tom, you look back at the beginning of the season for Zach Davies. I mean, it was an almost 7 ERA early in the season for this kid. But he did pitch very well against the Reds in his 2 starts way back in April. The reason this kid has done so well as the season has gone along is the feel for the changeup and the breaking ball. That is his money pitch. Also, that two-seam fastball that starts underneath the left-hander's hands and runs back over the inside corner. Look out, Joey Votto, Scott Schebler.
All right, when we come back, we'll check in with our main man downstairs, and that would be Jim Day. Going to talk about one Red who really loves coming to Miller Park in Milwaukee. That would be Zach Kozak. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Chevy? Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. First of three, Reds and Brewers coming up, and Zach Cozart in a contract year, and this week might set up pretty good for him when you're trying to further establish career highs and reach some career highs, because Reds finish out with the Brewers and 3 at Wrigley Field, and he has had some success there this year. Here at Miller Park, 6 games, .471 average, couple of doubles and 2 home runs here at Miller Park. And at Wrigley Field, he's played 7 games, .333 average, 3 home runs, and 6 RBIs. So it's 3 at Miller Park as the Brewers trying to chase down a playoff spot and then closing out the season in Chicago. The Reds can play spoiler, at least they hope so. Game 1 of 3 coming up from Beer City. On the call tonight, Tom Brenneman and the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, and they're standing by on Fox Sports Ohio.
Here in Milwaukee, but some clouds came in the afternoon, brought with it a little bit of rain, but the skies are expected to clear out. They've already begun to do so, and very, very nice. We'll have the roof open here tonight. Let's take a look at the Menards Reds starting lineup under manager Brian Price. Reds coming in 66 up, 90 down, trying to end a 6-game losing streak. Billy Hamilton, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto, Scooter Gennett in the cleanup spot, the former Brewers. Suarez at third, Schebler in right. A latter third of Adam Duvall. Tucker Barnhart, Deck McGuire against the right-hander Zach Davies, and what a year he is having. 17 wins.
One short of one Clayton Kershaw. But you look at the numbers overall, they're not Clayton Kershaw numbers. But when Zach Davies pitches, the Brewers catch the ball with regularity, and they hit to the tune of 5 runs a game on average.
And that's the reason you can have an ERA, as you just mentioned, not just a little bit south of 4. Although, in fairness to Davies, he has this start and one more, he could eclipse 200 innings on the year.
Correct.
So here we go. Billy Hamilton to lead things off. And Davies delivers. It swung on and hit down the left field line, and that ball is tailing out of play. Foul. Strike 1. We're underway. Hamilton at 250. As 38 runs batted in, just came back off the disabled list, of course, where he has a chance to do what he hasn't been able to do the last 2 years, and that's play the last week of the season. And because he hasn't played the last 2 weeks of the season, he wasn't able to win a stolen base crown. Bobbled, and the throw is not going to be in time.
You cannot bobble with Billy running. Not a very good bunt. It's right out in front of home plate. But you can see Stephen Vogt caught it right off the edge of the glove, and it trickled away from him momentarily. And Stephen Vogt does not throw like Manny Pena. Manny Pena has got a left thumb injury. It's a little sketchy as to whether he will play or not. But the Reds and everybody else know they can run on this Brewer catcher.
Straight up in the air, not even giving Hamilton a chance to run, is Cozart. Swing to the first pitch, pops it up. That didn't take long. By the way, it was scored an error on the catcher. Take a look at Milwaukee defensively, presented by Ford. Phillips has become quite the hot name out there in center field for these Brewers. I mean, this guy's getting a chance now to play every day down the stretch, loaded with left-handed batters. And of course, Travis Shaw, the son of Jeff Shaw, and the pride of Washington Courthouse, Ohio.
Crushing.
Big time year. So now Votto, speaking of crushing, 317, 35 home runs, 96 runs batted in.
Boy, does he like hitting in this ballpark.
In 153 career games, Votto has 34 home runs and 102 runs batted in this park. This should be nope. First baseman Thames elected not to make the throw. So Votto's retired and Hamilton gets in a scoring position.
It appeared as though Eric Thames caught the baseball and he was right in the direct line of the back of Billy Hamilton. There's no reason not to throw that ball to second base. As a first baseman, you catch the ball, you get yourself in position on the inside of the base runner, and then you make your throw. He came up, he's looking right at the number of Billy Hamilton and said, nah, I'm just going to go to first.
It's another reason, in a perfect world, you prefer to have a left-handed throwing first baseman.
Bingo.
There have been a lot of great defenders that play first base that are right-handed. It's not a prerequisite for the job. It's just a preference if you can have one.
This is a very right-handed throwing game, except for that spot.
So the former Brewer, in fact, the only team that Scooter ever played for was Milwaukee. Before they cut him loose, made him available for the Reds to snatch him up, and what a pickup it's been. 27 home runs, a whopping 94 runs batted in 474 plate appearances.
I mean, who would have thought that?
Nobody.
When the Reds picked him
Not
up.
even Scooter Jeanette.
No. 300 hitter right at it with 100 RBIs. What a year.
And of course, it lends itself to speculation, and there's going to be a lot said about that, a lot written about that. You're going to read over this last week of the season is, you know, what would you do at home if you were the general manager? You know, you've got players having career years in your middle infield. Jeanette's never been anywhere close to this. Cozart has never been anywhere close to this. We talked on the last homestand at Cozart, a career 246 batter. And is hitting over 300 for the season. Now, the last 2 years, he's been trending upward. And Jeanette, I mean, he's blown the doors off of every career mark, just like Cozart. So what to do? 3 balls and a strike on Scooter. Jam shot fly ball in the center field. This will be handled by Phillips, and the inning is over. An error by the catcher. Davies retires the next 3. Deck McGuire, his first major league start. Big deep breath when we come back. come the Brewers in the bottom of the inning under manager Craig Counsell. What an outstanding job he has done here with the Brew Crew. Former longtime Major League player. The lineup brought to you by Menards. Thames at first, Neil Walker, the longtime Pirate, at second, Braun in left. Shaw at third, Domingo Santana in right, and Vogt the catcher. Arcia the shortstop, Phillips in center, Davies on the mound. This young man's waited a long time for this day. Certainly when you're a #1 draft pick, you think it's going to come sooner rather than later for Deck McGuire.
Keep your composure, especially here in the early goings.
Now look, he's been around the block a time or two. As Cowboy mentioned a short while ago, you go all the way back to 2010. He was the 11th pick in the nation that year in the June draft. First round by Toronto. That was the same draft with Bryce Harper and Manny Machado and Matt Harvey, Yasmani Grandal, Chris Sale, Christian Yelich, among others. Well, as it turns out, he's bounced around a lot. The Blue Jays to the Athletics, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, now the Reds. He had a great year, was the best pitcher in all the Southern League. But that's Double-A baseball. Made his Major League debut this year with the Reds. Back on the 12th of September, and here he is, his first Major League start, 3-1 on Thames.
There's sometimes, Tom, as a player that's been around a little bit, you go back down a level. You have some great success, as this kid did down in Double-A. All of a sudden, it starts to breed a bit of confidence.
In the air, deep right center field. Schebler will not be able to get it. It bounces over the wall, and that's a ground rule double for Thames. He did not get all that ball.
No. Get that off his hands.
And I think Schebler may have been fooled a little bit when a guy like Thames takes such a big swing.
Well, you know, with this Brewers club, we've seen it time and time again. If you get into too many fastball counts, they will destroy you. You've got to be able to throw strike one, and you've got to put this offense on the defensive.
Now Neil Walker did a nice solid pickup for the Brewers. Checks in overall at 268, 14 home runs, 49 runs batted in. Walker is playing in his 34th game for the Brewers. For the first two batters anyway, exactly what you thought cannot happen for McGuire to be successful tonight. 3-1 to Thames, now 2-0 on Walker, which generally means fastball counts. And
Tucker's sensing exactly what I was just talking about. A little bit of anxiety over adrenaline at this point. You just got to settle down. Treat it just like you would if you were coming in for 1 inning out of the bullpen. You just want to be able to throw 6 innings of those 1 inning middle stints out of the bullpen.
First 2 on here in the Milwaukee first inning. We talked about the numbers that McGuire put up pitching in Double-A. I mean, he was just fantastic. And look, the easiest thing in the world to say, hey, look, this is an older guy, he's pitching in Double-A. All those things are true. But he still went out there and did it. And then when they got to the playoffs, he goes 8 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball. In a playoff win, he struck out 13 batters, did not walk a single batter. How about that for the postseason?
That, in Double-A, he was pounding the strike zone. Granted, You've bumped up 2 levels. It's the big leagues. You're in a big ballpark, but you still have to do the same mental exercise, and that is get the ball within the strike zone, especially early in the ball game.
Now that might be what he needed right there. First pitch breaking ball. A strike to Ryan Braun. Braun's been nicked up a lot, beat up a lot physically this year. 276, 17 home runs, 50 batted in.
Still has great power the other way.
Tardy on a fastball, and first time tonight McGuire gets ahead 0-2.
You know, we say this time and time again when we have a young pitcher on the mound that's facing a major league team for the first time. They're trying to figure you out as well. The more strikes that you can throw earlier, the quicker outs that you get, the less the hitters get to see of you. That way, the second time around, there's still a bit of mystery.
0-2 on Ryan Braun with 2 on and none out. Struck him out on 3 pitches. That's
Nice
another
comeback.
breaking ball.
Starts this one right at the mask of Tucker Barnhart, and watch the bottom fall out of this bad boy.
They make no mistake about it. The Reds are very much auditioning Dick McGuire, not necessarily for the starting rotation. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to come out and say that, but they want to know if there's a spot for all of these guys looking ahead to next year.
Staff's wide open.
Absolutely. When you pitch as poorly as the Reds have pitched this year, outside of, you know, a couple of handfuls worth of starts by some of these younger pitchers down the stretch, there's nobody guaranteed of jobs next year. Now, 1 or 2 might be contractually guaranteed, but outside of that, all bets are off. Here's Shaw, and again McGuire gets ahead of strike 1, and now 0-2.
Yeah, this is one of those spots for Brian Price where he hands the kid the ball and he says, "Show me what you got, big boy. Let's see it. You got 1 start. See what you got. You pitched great tonight." Boy, that really creates a thought process as you go through the winter. Well, what can he do it more than 1 time? You only know if you run him out there. But he's got to do it here tonight.
Ball and 2 strikes on Shaw, who's just had a great first year in Milwaukee. Came over from Boston during the offseason. 31 home runs, 99 runs batted in. And the big, huge clutch game winner over the weekend against Chicago, and that's back-to-back strikeouts now for McGuire.
Well, you notice the first 2 batters behind in the count. Braun and Shaw, the heart of the lineup. You're ahead in the count. They have a tendency to expand the strike zone with 2 strikes with runners in scoring position.
Every at bat, every inning, so important now for this Milwaukee Brewers team. And there'll be people, players, coaches, the manager, those who pay their money to get in the gates, that'll be watching that scoreboard out in left field all night long. They'll be watching what the Cubbies are up to. Their magic number is 1. Colorado is only a 1-hour time difference from here in Milwaukee in the Central Time Zone, so they'll be able to get a bulk of the numbers from that one as we move forward. There's a fastball thrown right by Domingo Santana.
That ball was in the mitt. That goes back to what I was saying earlier. They've not seen this guy. It's tough to pick it up early, especially as much as Dick McGuire closes off before he comes to the plate. He's got a little bit of hiding the baseball before he cuts it loose.
Two balls and a strike. 2 on, 2 out. The last time he fell behind a batter 3 balls and a strike, it turned out to be a double to right center by Thames.
As we noticed the 1-0 pitch that he threw by Santana, so did McGuire. The last 2 pitches that he has thrown have been fastballs, and he's tried to throw them through the backstop, and they've both been over in the left-handed hitter's batter's box.
Came back with another fastball. That one at 93, and the count is full. The runners will get started. McGuire trying to work out of a double and a walk to start the inning.
The book on Santana is to pound him inside with hard stuff. But the problem that you have is once you get to this type of count, you have to throw a strike. You make the hitter a lot better.
One of the few right-handed batters in this Milwaukee lineup is Santana. Out of foul, throw him another fastball. I mean, you look at Thames, lefty, Walker switch, Braun's a righty, Santana and Arcia. Those are the 3 straight right-handed hitters in this lineup.
You notice Craig Counsell has alternated that left, right, left where he's had a chance to. So you can't just get in a groove facing these left-handed batters.
And it's 3-0 Milwaukee.
If you're ahead in the count, you can come back in with a fastball, or you can bounce that breaking ball in the dirt. But when it's 3-2, you think to yourself, I've got to throw it for a strike. You hang it, they kill it.
Look, this isn't rocket science. Easy for me to say. You know, we try and crunch numbers and spin rates and all these other kinds of things, which of course would be science. But the bottom line is, more times than not, you pitch ahead in the count, you have a good chance to get people out. And this inning is the absolute prime illustration. 38 home runs this year for the Brewers against Reds pitching. That's the most in team history against any opponent in any year. But look in this inning. Thames 3-1, double. Walker walked. Got ahead of Ryan Braun, struck him out. Got ahead of Travis Shaw, struck him out. Fell behind Santana. 2-0, 3-1, 3-2, long ball. And knocking on the door of a 30-pitch inning.
Ultimately, as a pitcher, especially a young pitcher, that first pitch is the all-important pitch. I'm going to pitch to contact. I'm going to throw it for a strike. If you hit it out, I'll tip my hat. The problem that you have is you try to make that perfect pitch on the first pitch, so they won't hit it out, and then you get behind in the count. Look, if you can throw a 3-0 fastball right on the outside corner, you can throw an 0-0 fastball right on the outside corner.
3-2 on Vogt. And that's a rocket into right center field, a base hit. Vogt's coming to second. Here comes the throw by Billy Hamilton. Cut off. Third hit in the inning for Milwaukee. And this first inning continues for Arcia.
Fastball up, out over the plate. You can't be so careful when it's 3-1 or 3-2. The hitter knows that. He knows it's going to be somewhere around the plate. Every hitter is looking out over the plate for something hard that they can hammer. And when you're behind, it's usually a fastball.
Mac Jenkins out to the mound. That's a lengthy conversation there. as Jenkins will head back to the dugout.
Well, if you're Dick McGuire right now, you have to say to yourself, this is not how I wanted it to start. You take a deep breath, you back away, make some pitches to Arcia, get into the dugout. It's 3-0. Hope your club can come back.
Arcia 270, 15 home runs, 49 knocked in. Starts him out with a breaking ball to strike. Arcia playing in his 149th game. And this guy, you know, he might look rail thin and all those kinds of things. He's so young, but he is one durable player. Of course, the Reds know all about that one. Joseph Votto down there at first base. He has started every game going back to September of last season. That ball driven into left center field. RBI single by Arcia, 4-0 Milwaukee.
And that was an 0-2 pitch that Dick McGuire just left middle in.
Reds are going to have to crank up their bullpen in the very first inning of this one. McGuire facing the 8th batter in this inning. This will be his 34th pitch, and it's Brett Phillips. The 23-year-old center fielder looks at a ball inside. I mean, think about Phillips. A month ago, he's down in the minor leagues. Knows a big league club is right in the hunt, having a good year. They bring him up. And he's getting a lot of very, very, very important starts here in the month of September. This is his 20th this month.
Got to the big leagues. He did his job. You get a second opportunity. You keep doing your job. Craig Counsell says we'll keep riding this hot hand. We've got to win every ball game.
Yeah, they brought him up and down 3 times. Short stints, most of them. And I mean, this guy was used to playing every day down at AAA. He had a really good year. Hitter-friendly Colorado Springs, where they have their AAA team. But nonetheless, 19 home runs, 78 batted in 100+ games.
Phillips, Suter, Josh Hader, all part of that trade with Houston. Got 3 big leaguers out of that deal. Not too bad.
Well, we talk about it all the time. You can talk about free agency. You can talk about developing your own players, all very important. But when you make trades to start to rebuild, you cannot miss on the trades that are the big trades. You know, let's be honest about it. I mean, you look right now at the Orioles Chapman trade. Rookie Davis is the only one that's been in the big leagues, and he hadn't been there very long. You know, you look at the Johnny Cueto deal. John Lamb gone. Finnegan hurt. Had a good year last year, though, did Finnegan.
Yes.
And waiting on Cody Reed. There's strike 3. 8 men back. 4 score. 4-0 at the end of 1. And the storyline in baseball really zeroes in the National League anyway on 3 cities right now. Denver, where later it'll be Miami and Colorado. Rockies a game and a half in the wild card in front of Milwaukee. That would be the 2nd city. And the 3rd would be St. Louis.
Well, the problem in this grouping, Colorado doesn't play either of the 2 on the right. The 2 on the right, they finish with each other in St. Louis.
Well, when you start a season and everybody thought the Brewers were going to be a lot like the Reds, you know, most of the preseason prognosticators said, you know, one will finish 4th, one will finish 5th. They're in rebuild mode. I'm not sure anybody thought at this point of the year the Brewers would be in this thing, but here they are. And off to a good start here tonight for Craig Counsell. His team a 4 spot in the opening inning.
I mean, you look at this Brewers club right now. There was no Travis Shaw, no Arcia, no Todd Walker, no Neil Walker, no Thames. Domingo Santana just broke in. Ryan Braun, of course, has been here for a while. Stephen Vogt nowhere to be found. And Brett Phillips. These guys weren't even on the radar. A lot of moves. And they've obviously clicked in that clubhouse.
Eugenio Suarez to lead things off here in the Reds' 2nd inning. Followed by Schebler and Duvall against Zach Davies, gunning for win number 18 as Davies here tonight.
Suarez still looking for that first hit as a new daddy. Those 3 days off for paternity leave. Had a daughter, Nicole. Eugenio and his wife. Should come back. And it's baseball again.
Been a good year for Suarez, though. He continues to get better and better and better. Already career highs in runs, RBIs, home runs, walks. He's tied career highs in doubles and triples.
And played phenomenal defense at 3rd base.
Yes, he has. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
They hit him.
They did hit him
right in the stomach. That's got to knock the breath out of you.
Yep.
You can see Suarez's face as this ball catches him.
I can read his lips there with Steve Bauman. He said, "I'm fine. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you just knocked the breath out of it." And it hurt too.
That's like crossing over the middle. You look back for the quarterback. You get the ball. And that big boy lays a helmet in your chest.
Suarez will be escorted down to first. Suarez puts an arm around Steve, says, "Hey, head on back. I'm fine."
He's pointing to his chest. Thames was saying, "Did it get you in the elbow?" And no, it hit me in the heart.
Exactly right. Here's Schebler. 29 home runs, 63 runs batted in. Started 2 and takes a strike. The Brewers this year are 19-13 in Zach Davies starts. 17 wins, tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball with 4 others. But boy, what has he done down the stretch? I mean, when the Brewers, and you could make a perfectly logical argument that the starts you make in April and May can be every bit as important as the starts you make in August and September. But the truth of the matter is, it's those that are made in August and September that we tend to remember. And those that in October we remember the most. Well, during these last couple of months, Davies has been lights out. Look at those numbers in the second half of this season.
A slow starter last year for Davies, and it goes back to just getting a feel for the pitches, the changeup and that breaking ball. But Davies is a pitcher's pitcher, and by that I mean he relies on the changeup speeds, the separation between his fastball, breaking ball, changeup velocities, and location. When you watch this kid pitch, you're not going to see him drag his knuckles on the ground as he reaches back to second base and try to throw the ball through the backstop. If he misses up, it's on purpose. Most of the time, it's down on the zone, and he's going to miss just off the plate, whether it's in or out.
That ball in the air down the right field line hit a ton, and Schebler plays long ball, 2-run home run to make it a 4-2 game. Number 30 for Scott Schebler.
The cutter that does not cut. You start at middle end thinking it's going to run in on the left-hander, and it just spins. And Schebler didn't miss it. You see Vogt set inside. Ball has a little bit of movement, but it stays out over the plate. And for Schebler, that's boneyard. Home runs.
30 home runs. Well, I mean, look, the Reds after that home run are now 8 shy of the franchise record for home runs in a season. They hit 222 home runs in the 2005 season. So now they have 214, and basically we're only in the second inning of this game tonight. We have almost 6 full games left to go. There's a base hit into right field against the drawn-in infield. That's nice to see from Adam Duvall. He's really been struggling.
Might be the best swing I've seen Duvall take in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Stayed on that ball, shot it right through the right side of the infield, and he got it on the barrel. Did I mention this was always an offensive series?
Yes, you did. In fact,
these two get together, it's Hammer City.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Reds have won 6 of the last 9 against the Brewers and 2 of the last 3 series here at Miller Park. But I mean, the home runs, the offensive numbers, they are just mind-boggling between these two teams. And now another rocket into left center field. This will go to the wall off the bat of Tucker. And they're going to wave around Duvall. Here comes a throw. And it's up the line. But they got the tag on him. What a play by Vogt. I mean, to have the concentration to catch it and then find the runner. That's well done.
Chest high throw from Brett Phillips right on the money to Arcia. Arcia's throw was well offline. But as you said, Tom, Vogt got it, made the tag all in one fell swoop.
Well, with nobody out in the inning, granted the pitcher was coming up, but there's still nobody out in the inning. You wonder if Billy Hatcher could do it again. Would he do the same thing? It's not second guessing the guy. It's just would he, you know, he's asking himself that question over there right now. He has done a solid job this year. I don't care who your third base coach is. They're always going to have guys thrown out at the plate. That's going to happen. That's part of the job.
Hatcher doesn't have too many of them.
No, he doesn't. He is among the very, very best. I've said it before and I'll say it again, and not that it means anything because obviously I'm never going to be a major league manager. But if I ever were a major league manager, Billy Hatcher would be on my coaching staff. That would be a rock solid lead pipe cinch hire. This guy knows baseball.
And I like the way that he handles the constructive criticism of players, whether they're Joey Votto or whether they're Scott Shepard, whether it's a veteran or a rookie.
Off the glove of the pitcher, Brewers got a break there. So McGuire taps out. On the third goes Barnhart. 2 away in the inning. Billy Hamilton put down a bunt in front of the plate that if fielded cleanly by the catcher Vogt, he would have thrown Hamilton out, but a slight bobble and Hamilton was able to beat the throw. An error was charged to the Milwaukee catcher. One ball and 1 strike on Billy Hamilton with a runner at third. Reds have scored twice here in the inning. So a Milwaukee 4-0 lead at the end of one has been chopped in half. Tapper over the mound, and that will end the inning. But Schebler flexing his muscles in the second inning. Number 30 and a 2-run game.
Here, 2017, the year of the home run at an astronomical rate, and also the ball usage in Major League Baseball has gone up. I get this question a lot. What's the average amount of baseball used in a Major League game? And the number's been right around 80, maybe 90. But checking in with Reds clubhouse manager Rick Stowe, who's in charge of such things, he says now they throw so many balls into the stands, they throw so many balls away after they go into the dirt, they're pitched into the dirt, they authenticate so many baseballs now, they're lucky to get through a Major League game under 12 dozen baseballs. That does not count batting practice, which the home team has to furnish. 384 balls on average into the stands and used during batting practice. It's even worse when the Reds will go to Wrigley Field because a lot of balls are thrown into the stands. So add up the money. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on baseballs per club per year now.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we were talking about that the other day with Rick in the dugout. I think Jim was down there. We were getting to a point where we were talking almost about $500,000 in baseballs. In baseballs.
All right, back to the top of the order after Deck McGuire strikes out his counterpart Davies to open up the second inning. It is a 4-2 Milwaukee lead. Thames double in the 4-run first inning. A high fly ball will stay in the yard here. And a quick 2 outs. Your breakout MLB season is on Nintendo Switch. Baseball 2017 filled with fast-paced pickup and play MLB action packed with all your favorite teams, ballparks, players. You got it. Learn more today at RBIGame.com. How about that? Neil Walker walked and scored on the 3-run home run by Domingo Santana in the first.
Worlds of confidence. You get 3 up, 3 down here in this inning. Changes the outlook for one Deck McGuire.
Change up away, and it's 2 balls and a strike on Walker. They're underway at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Pitch taken up and away now, 3 balls and a strike. I mean, in fairness in the division, it isn't over, but the Cubs' magic number is 1. And that means any combination of a Cub win or a Milwaukee loss, and it's over. They're 6 ahead with 6 to go. The divisional race, it's over. And the Cubs are not going to go 0-6 and the Brewers go 6-0. It's not going to happen. Second time that McGuire has walked Neil Walker. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Hamilton flanked in the outfield by Duvall and Shepard. The regular cast of characters along the infield, and Tucker Barnhart. I know it was announced over the weekend he had signed that new 4-year contract extension. Good for him. He's earned it. Gone from a guy in the minor leagues that the Reds knew would be an outstanding defensive catcher. He's lived up to that reputation in the major leagues. I don't think they thought that he would become the offensive player he has become. Perhaps he felt that way. And you look ahead to next year, it's the final year, that 4-year deal that Devin Mesoraco signed. Unfortunately, he's been injured almost the entirety of that contract with 1 year to go. And Barnhart looks like he will be the primary guy, at least to start 2018 and beyond.
Yeah, I was looking at some numbers today before coming to the ballpark. Suarez, Cozart, Jeanette, Votto, one of the more prolific offensive infields in baseball. And these guys can flat catch it. So they're doing it on both sides of the fence.
Yes, sirree. 1-1 strike on Ryan Braun. Struck out his first time up. straight up in the air. This will end the inning. So a nice bounce back. Second inning for Deck McGuire, reshuffling the deck after a rocky first inning. You've been waiting for that, Cal. I know. And now for tonight's IGS, bringing the energy. How about Zach Cozart against these Milwaukee Brewers? Only Aaron Judge. Look at those numbers against Baltimore for Judge. But Cozart at .558 against the Brewers this year. Now, his first time up, he popped up on the very first pitch of the at-bat to the second baseman. 2-3-4 in the Reds batting order, trailing 4-2 here in the third. Well, there's such an incredible comfort. And we've talked about this so many times through the years about the benefits. Granted, it costs you a lot of money. There's a ground ball down the third. But the money you make up, there has to be a break point. And obviously there are smart people that can crunch these numbers and figure it out in a short amount of time. When we were coming over to the ballpark today, it was starting to rain. It then poured. I mean, like raining sideways. But when you're a fan and you buy a ticket,
you know you're going to play in Milwaukee.
I remember
the
weather report when I was this morning, and they're talking about, oh, it's going to rain tonight, and you just automatically just sort of exhale. I mean, imagine if you're the fan who maybe can afford to go to one game per year if you're lucky. And that's a one night you save up and you want to bring your wife and kids, or maybe you want to bring a date or go with a couple of buddies, whatever the case may be. Well, what a feeling it is. Oh, man. I can't sit through a 2, 3, 4 hour rain delay. I got to get up for work. I got to get the kids to school. You know that game's going to start at 6:40.
In Milwaukee.
That's exactly right. And now it turned out to be a beautiful night. Just before the game. The
roof's open.
Yeah, they open it up.
The ball's jumping.
3 balls and a strike on Joey Votto. With a walk. First walk given up by Davies. He did hit Suarez with a pitch in the second inning in front of the Chevrolet home run. Very nice round of applause for Scooter Gennett when they made the announcements over the PA of the Reds starting lineup prior to the game tonight. You know, normally you go to visitors ballpark unless there's some player you really don't like from the other team, like maybe when Brandon Phillips used to go to St. Louis, or Yadier Molina comes to Cincinnati now. Most of the time there's zero reaction, good, bad, or indifferent, when they give the opposing team, the visiting team's starting lineup on the PA. And that's what it was for Hamilton, Cozart, even Votto. I mean, no reaction, none. And when they introduced Gennett, a very nice
big round of applause.
Round of applause. Ground ball up the middle. There's one, and they turn it over. Nicely done. Walker, Arcia, Thames. Middle of the third, Milwaukee a 4-2 lead. For your seats. It's a big event Saturday, October the 7th. Step up to the plate, hit a home run, and you get your 2018 season tickets for free. 765-7500, the number to call, or visit reds.com/swing. Now check some of the rules and the restrictions. But what a great idea that's turned into, done it the last couple of years in the ballpark. Brantley will be throwing the batting practice for that. Mr. Jeff Brantley.
That ain't happening.
Hooked into right field, a base hit by Travis Shaw.
I threw batting practice enough my last few years in the big leagues.
Oh, come on.
That old shoulder ain't what she used to be.
Leadoff man aboard. Beck McGuire threw 39 pitches in the 4-run first inning. He threw 14 in a scoreless second. Leadoff man aboard here in the third, and here's Santana, who hit a long 3-run home run on a 3-2 pitch. Number 29 on the year for Santana, who now has 83 runs batted in. But you know, we've talked so much all year long, and whether or not it's been proven scientifically, whether there's some grand conspiracy, I mean, all kinds of ideas.
You're going to the baseball. You're going
exactly
to the baseball.
Right. I mean, every player, the point I'm getting at was every player virtually that comes to the plate, you're saying the same thing over and over. Career highs, home runs, doubles, Runs batted in. Every one of them. I don't care if it's a second-year player or an 8-year player. I mean, just look at the Reds tonight. Schebler, Suarez, Kozar, Jeanette. Votto should get there. He needs one more home run to tie his career high. Santana would be the same thing. This one will stay in the park. A reminder coming up a little bit later on. We'll have our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. This will be the home of Miller Lite right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Great state, great place, great people.
They love their sports here. And right up the road, by the way.
Yeah, right up the road. Well, a couple of roads, actually. You can go to Green Bay for the pro side of things, and you can go to Madison, Wisconsin for the collegiate side of things. In fact, it's why they changed the game on the original schedule here. Thursday's game was supposed to have been a night game. But when the NFL schedule came out, and it showed the Bears were playing their arch enemies to the south, the Chicago Bears, on Thursday night, Packers and Bears. They said, well, we're not going up against that because nobody will be here. Bengals should have had the Packers over the weekend, but after 3 weeks, there have been a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas there. St. Louis in the first inning already a 3-spot against Carlos Martinez and still batting. Or I beg your pardon, St. Louis a 3-spot against Jake Arrieta. Forgive me, and still batting. They have Carlos Martinez opposing Arrieta tonight.
The inside corner to any hitter right now is awfully tight, whether it be Zach Davies on the mound or the Red starter Deck McGuire. If you've got to have a strike, you've got more leeway on the outside part of the plate.
Bill Welke calling the balls and strikes tonight. Bruce Dreckman at first. Mike Everett is a crew chief at second base. Vic Carapazza, the umpire down at third. I think the umpires find out this week
who's doing postseason.
Who's doing the postseason. I ran into at the airport last Friday after that Cardinals series at home. Ran into that umpiring crew at the airport the next morning. They were on their way down to Houston. There's strike three. Yep, good changeup indeed. And that is the 5th strikeout in this game for McGuire.
Good arm action. Takes the fingers right over the top of it. Looks just like a fastball, except it's not there when you swing.
Now the batter Arcia. He hit the ball very hard. An RBI single into left center field his first time up.
You can see that leg kick by Arcia, almost holding his, standing on his back leg, if you will, with that left leg up in the air. It's all timing of getting that front foot down before you swing. But unless you get totally closed up, It's tough to catch that ball on the outside part of the plate. The pitch that he hit into left center field with 2 strikes was on the inside corner, and he hammered it.
After watching Arcia the last year and a half, you wonder why would you ever throw a pitch on the inside part of the plate outside of just a show me pitch and you come in there. It's a lot like Javier Baez in that regard. I'm not comparing Baez to Arcia as a player.
Similar type of swing, except Baez sometimes falls down.
Yeah, he swings harder than any player I think I've ever seen.
I would put him in the Carlos Gomez category.
Some kind of athlete, though.
Both of those guys.
Man. Baez could have played anything. Just an incredible athlete.
You'd like to have your action pitch right now. You don't want to go to 3-2 with 2 outs and allow the base runner a little added step.
Nowhere near the strike zone. So he does go for it. And the runner will get started. We'll take a look at that hat. Sweat pouring through the bill of that cap for Deck McGuire. Hooked into left field, and either will fall in a hit. The runner will slam on the break. Shaw at second. So the inning continues now for the left-handed batting Brett Phillips.
You go 3-2, even when you throw a good breaking ball, it's got to be within the strike zone. And for a hitter like Arcia that is just trying to get plate coverage, you're doing him a favor when you fall behind in the count. Do a lot of hitters a favor when you fall behind in the count.
Ariel Hernandez beginning to throw in the Reds bullpen. They had Shashin up in the first inning. They are underway in Denver. I mean, we're only in the 3rd inning of this game, so they're going to have a long look at what happens out in Denver tonight. Miami batting in the top of the 1st inning. We're starting play, if you weren't with us earlier, a game and a half behind Colorado for that 2nd and final wild card slot for a trip to the National League postseason. Arizona's already wrapped it up. And Arizona will host that game. Wouldn't that be something if it wound up being Milwaukee? That would be Craig Counsell going back to face a franchise where he won a World Series as a player. Full foul. Not only won a World Series, he was the National League Championship Series most valuable player in 2001 in a 5-game dismantling of the Atlanta Braves. And 2 to Phillips.
We talked about the perspiration of Deck McGuire. When you're running up on 75, 80 pitches in 3 innings, that your arm feels like lead.
Oh, he didn't get that call. It looked like a pretty good pitch.
Well, that's that pitch on the inside part of the plate. That's exactly where home plate umpire Bill Welke is set up. Right over the top of his eyes, and you can see that ball misses just a bit inside, but you're not going to get any benefit of the doubt on that side of the plate.
Well, 0-2 all of a sudden has become 3-2, and the runners get started again. All right, so the runner Shaw at second. Arcia at first. 2 outs in the inning, and McGuire a long look in, and now the batter naturally wants time out, and naturally that will be followed by a visit to the mound by Tucker Barnum. I know the Shaws are watching tonight. Jeff Shaw and Julie Shaw, they're dialed in.
Dialed into the Reds broadcast with their son playing at third base.
That's exactly right.
He knows what he's doing.
A little foul. I know, Cowboy, you are quite close with Jeff Shaw, and even for those of us that only know him a little bit, I mean, you don't have to know him very well or very long. He's one of your all-time favorite guys.
No doubt about it.
He is just a good man.
They don't make him too much better than him.
And Julie, too. I don't want to leave them out.
It's a good family. Washington Courthouse.
Yes, indeed. Same hometown as Art Schleister. Pull to the right side. And it's thrown right by Votto. That had trouble written over it from the very beginning, and 2 runs are going to score, and the runner's on his way to third. And he's safe. I mean, it just took forever to get to the ball. To be able to set the feet in time, and busting up the line was Phillips all the way and forced a bad throw.
This play takes a little while to develop. As you see the ball come off the bat, it's not hit hard, but Votto's got a long way to go. Jeanette tried to get his feet set, but his momentum kept carrying him towards the right field line, and he just pulls the throw with him.
Phillips is lucky he didn't dislocate his right shoulder. See that hand go into the ground on a head first slide, and then it just stuck. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. After 2 outs in the inning, a bouncing ground ball to the right side, and 2 runs scored.
Well, now you're at a point, if you're Brian Price, you've got a pitcher with 90 pitches, and you don't have a third out here in the 3rd inning. I mean, that's 30 pitches an inning. If he doesn't get Davies here, you got to go get him.
Well, he will get Davies, but damage done. 2 more runs and a big error. 6-2 Brewers in front. brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. Always send out a special hello to those watching over at Cincinnati Children's tonight. Hope you've had a great day today. We always pray for an even better one tomorrow. Downtown Milwaukee, right along Water Street. It's one great town to come visit in the summer. Now the winter, you better bring all you got.
Once again, in a Zach Davies start, the Milwaukee Brewers have put at least 5 on the board. And we got a long way to go in this one.
They have the 2 unearned runs on the Jeanette error in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and you got to believe the night is over for Deck McGuire. There is no way that they would run him out there just short of 100 pitches to start a 4th inning. Look at the numbers. He's been a far better road pitcher than he has a home pitcher. I mean, look, this is very much a hitter-friendly ballpark. I mean, you know, to the extent that it's a great American ballpark, maybe not, but not far behind. In fact, where there have been some seasons where there have been more total runs scored in this ballpark than a great American ballpark in a given year. Suarez thrown out by Arcia to begin the 4th.
But when you watch Zach Davies, as we talked about earlier, he's a contact pitcher. He's not a guy that's going to come out and strike everybody out or blow them away. He's going to change speeds. He's going to try to induce weak contact, especially early in the count. And it makes it much tougher to come back against a guy like this when you're down early, because you start to get a little bit aggressive at the plate, and he's throwing changeups and that backdoor curveball, and really test your patience.
There have been exceptions in recent years, but they are rare. You know, when you start looking at this Milwaukee team and should it make the postseason, and you ask yourself, well, how would you like their chances in the postseason? From short right field, that's a long throw. That's why I've never understood that play defensively. I just don't get it. Arcia's got a cannon for an arm. And to play that far into right field with a guy that can run it all, you're not going to throw him out.
Well, you have to credit Schebler here. As he made contact, he came out of the box gangbuster style. He was hustling all the way, busting it down the line. If you Cadillac it even momentarily, you don't beat that ball out. But you're right, Tom. Arcia was well out into right field.
And we see teams do it all the time, and most times it'll be their second baseman out there who does not have an arm anywhere close to a shortstop's arm. And look, Schebler runs well. I mean, certainly much better than average, but Schebler is by no means a burner. He runs well. He's a good athlete. And he's got the advantage, of course, of being a left-handed hitter, but that's the only reason you're playing him out there anyways, because he's a left-handed hitter. That one hooked into left field, and a real nice start here tonight for Adam Duvall. A single to right, now a single into left. Be nice to see him have a good final week here. Well, you know you're going to hit from McGuire, so you've got 2 on and the number 8 hitter coming up.
Jose Peraza has moved down into the on-deck circle.
2-1 for the Reds, trailing by 4 and a long way to go. Slow roller to the right side. The runners advance. 2 are out in the inning. And it will be Peraza for McGuire. So McGuire goes 3 innings. He allows 6 base hits, 6 runs, 4 earned. He walked 2 and fanned 5. And gave up 1 home run. That was a 3-run home run and a 4-run first inning to Santana. He is scheduled to start again on Sunday, the last game of the year.
And even as much as McGuire struggled there in that first inning, you get a base hit right here, you're right in the ball game. It's a 6-4 game. You get a hit right here.
Colorado has scored in the bottom of the first inning, a 1-0 lead over Miami, still batting. St. Louis has opened up now a 5-1 lead over Chicago. But we're starting to talk about, the Brewers in the postseason. Most years, the team with the power starting pitchers are the teams that have the greatest amount of success in the playoffs. And you go back to all those great teams that the Atlanta Braves had. Went to the playoffs 14 years in a row. Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz. Their best pitcher was always Smoltz in the postseason, a power guy. Whereas teams would put the ball in play on Glavine and Maddox and would have some luck.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Our final episode of Reds Weekly coming up tomorrow night. Brian Price will reflect on the season, looks ahead to 2018. Of course, he'll be back as manager next year. Tucker Barnhart proved invaluable to the Reds this year. Now a new deal, plus Scooter sets another Reds record. Jeff Pecoro, Doug Flynn, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Leading up to Reds Live, that'll be on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Make sure to check it out. Ariel Hernandez now on the mound.
Hard throwing right-hander. You put this guy at a tryout camp, you'd sign him all day, every day. The key for this kid has always been about command. Does he have high velocity? Yes. Does he have a snapdragon for a breaking ball? Yes. But you've got to get it over the plate.
And that has obviously been a major issue so far for Hernandez. First pitch slapped into left field by Thames. Already batting for the 3rd time tonight. That's his 2nd hit.
I think part of hitting Thames in the #1 spot is he can go to the plate and hunt fastballs. He's not your prototypical leadoff hitter, but he can catch a fastball if it's down.
And he'll take a walk. You know, sometimes guys come over here, and I say come over here. What I mean by that is Thames has spent the last number of years playing over in Korea, where the ball got a great jump on that ball and tracks it down. And, you know, after failing his first go-around at the big league level, he went all the way over there, played for a couple of years, had monster seasons. I mean, the league MVP, he was King Kong over there. But what many fail to remember is when he was hitting all those home runs in April, these last couple of years in Korea, and granted, you know, it's Korea, but he was stealing 20, 25 bases a year. Ever since he's come here, he never runs. And I don't know if he could steal bases here. But a man can't do something if you never ask him to do it. And they, by and large, are not asking Thames to run. That is not the strength of this Milwaukee team, outside of Jonathan VR.
No, their strength is rattling the fences. And they've gotten some pretty decent starting pitching. They did lose Jimmy Nelson. He had right shoulder surgery. He was off to one of his better years this year.
You know what, I misspoke when I say that the speed is not, or the stolen base is where I misspoke. It's not a fast Milwaukee team. They don't have a lot of guys that you would look at and say they're very fast, but they are very aggressive running the bases. They have 125 stolen bases as a team. So you look up and down the line, and outside of VR, you know, you've got a bunch of guys, but there are a lot of them that have 13, 12, 13, 10, 15. So Greg Counsell will put guys in motion and try to make some things happen.
Well, Counsell was an aggressive player. It's translated quite a bit this year to this ball club. That first and third aggressive base running on a single, that's where the difference is made, I think, for this club.
I mean, you sit here and you look at their lineup, you don't think of Thames as a runner, you don't think of Walker as a runner, you don't think of Braun, although he's stolen a base from time to time in his career, but not a runner. You don't look at Shaw as a runner. Vogt, no. Arcia, not really. Phillips, haven't seen him enough. Looks like he moves pretty well, pretty good athlete. But you don't see anybody in this lineup when VR's not in there where you say, man. But then when you look at their stolen base numbers, everybody's chipping in.
They will take advantage of a pitcher that does not hold base runners and is slow to the plate.
And I think that's good management. It's aggressive, as you just said. It's aggressive. It's going into series with a game plan. And every manager will tell you, or every coaching staff, hey, we got a game plan here tonight against this guy. Well,
got to execute it.
And you can't be afraid to go
put
do
it in
it.
motion.
Right.
I think that's playing with an edge and taking the fight to the opponent. But what it also does is it keeps your players aggressive throughout the ball game.
There goes a runner, got a huge jump, and it's ball 4. Single, now a walk. Zach Cozart will come in along with Barnhart out to the mound to visit with Hernandez. Brewers are going through their batting order for the 3rd time already in this game. We are in the 4th inning. Brewers 6 runs, 7 hits. 3 walks they've drawn. Good pitch here. Back to back. In his first year as a Brewer, trying to set an all-time franchise record for most runs batted in a season by a third baseman. Ramos Ramirez, man, he had a lot of big years. Casey McGee, that was by far his biggest year.
I tend to remember Ramirez as a Cub as much as I do as a Brewer.
Yo-yo. And shot. They might get a force out here. They will. That's nicely done there by Cozart. That's a fielder's choice. 2 away in the inning.
Problem for Eric Thames is he did not realize that Zach Cozart was behind him. Normally, that is a routine looping liner right at the shortstop. But Zach was playing up the middle. Thames did not break on contact, and he was a dead duck at third. If he breaks on contact, I don't know if they get him or not.
Ground ball down to third. Suarez will go to second, and that will end the inning. We played 4. Brewers lead by 4.
Plays. The 2017 Major League Baseball postseason begins October 3rd. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Zach Davies back for his 5th inning of work. And this is a guy that gets ribbed all the time because he looks so young, and he's a small guy. In fact, during the Players Weekend, his nickname on the back was Bat Boy. So, not a big dude. In fact, he and his teammate climbed into Jesus Aguilar's pants. Jesus Aguilar, 6'3", 250. Check him out. Orlando Arcia and Zach Davies, they fit.
That is really funny.
In his pants.
That is really funny.
He's not real big in size, but tell you what, he's pretty mean on the mound when he wants to be.
Yeah, big winner.
Yeah.
How about that? That's a great picture. High fly ball in a deep right center field by Billy Hamilton. That ball's going to be up against the wall, and this is an easy triple for Hamilton. Don't even throw it to third.
Looking like Hamilton caught a breaking ball down and in. Got that right on the sweet part of the bat. Yeah, once Billy gets between first and second and he starts that body lean coming around second base, just put it in your back pocket.
So runner at third to lead off the inning. Got to get one of these back, if not more. Maybe start something big with Cozart. Hamilton at third. Cozart is 0 for 2. Has popped to second base and bounced to third. Jared Hughes joining Josh Hader, right-hander and a left-hander, in the Milwaukee bullpen. I mean, with 6 to go and a game and a half out of the wild card, all hands on deck.
Take no prisoners. Yeah, this is not one of those ball games for Craig Counsell where you see, well, I've got a 6-2 lead. He's in the 5th inning. I'm going to try to milk him through this inning and get him that 18th win. No. You're trying to win no matter what, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
All right, there's a walk now. Runners on the corners with nobody out here in the Reds' 5th. It's a second walk given up by Davies.
You got a righty and a lefty up. Votto gets a hit here. Davies' outing is over. Maybe over right now.
Yep, here comes Craig Counsell. He's not given a signal yet. Still no signal given by the, unless he just, yep, now he does. He wants a left-hander. Hader. So Davies will leave after 4+ innings. To be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Reds trying to get back into sync here in the 5th, trailing by 4. runners on the corners and nobody out. And the main man, Joey Votto, coming up. And he'll be facing the hard-throwing southpaw, having an outstanding year, Josh Hader.
Big, hard-running heater up in the strike zone, and he's got a devastating hook to go with it. Left-handers hitting a mere 113 against this kid, and he's got 2 in a row to face.
Runners on the corners and Hader to the plate. Oh, he left one there for Votto to hammer right there. Try to spin one up there on the first pitch, rather than challenging with an electric fastball. Not sure what happened there. Maybe he got something in his eye called timeout. Votto back in there. This time Hader does come with a fastball, and it's quickly 0-2. You know, we talked about Hader, and the last time we saw him, we were talking about what an important weapon he might be for the Brewers should they make the playoffs, i.e. Andrew Miller. That's the way they've been using this guy. And on the very next pitch, a Red hit a home run against him. So the Reds swept these Brewers in the 3-game series in Cincinnati. It was Labor Day. And it was Billy Hamilton who hit the game-ending home run. Remember that? The most unlikely Red to cap off that 3-game sweep. What's overlooked about that series is the Reds, who had been pounded by the Brewers offensively all year long. In a 3-game series, they held the Brewers to 8 runs in that 3-game set. Votto shoots one into left field. This will stay in the yard. Caught by Braun, tagging and scoring Hamilton to make it a 6-3 game. Votto with RBI number 97.
Well, with a 1.64 ERA, there have not been too many times Josh Hader has taken the mound that he has gotten hit.
He's at a point in his career so young, like when we first saw Tony Cingrani, and I'm not suggesting they're similar kind of pitchers, but all Cingrani had when he came to the big leagues was a fastball. And really, as far as any kind of command or any idea where it's going, that's all Hader has right now, too. Those who watch him every day say the teams that see him more frequently, naturally, are a little more prone to giving him some problems than those that have not. Now, Jeanette has struggled against left-handers all year long. As great a year as Scooter Jeanette has had, the lefties have given him fits. My oh my, look what he's done against those right-handers.
Oh.
Here's a breaking ball where, for Jeanette, the Reds, you're doing him a favor if Hader spins a breaking ball up there right now, because he just doesn't have a good one yet.
That was just a cement mixer. It's just spinning, rolling down the highway, straight as a string. Watch this as it comes out. You see the spin. If that ball's a little bit further out over the plate, you might be able to kiss the baby.
Be very surprised if he sees another breaking ball. This is batted 0-2. Unless it's right there.
That was a good
That
one.
was a good
Stayed on top of it, got good finish, and it had some serious bite to it.
If this kid starts throwing more of those,
look out.
well, there's a good chance he's in their starting rotation next year. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with him for the long haul. He's always been a starter. But this year they needed a dominant left-hander in that bullpen, and that's exactly what they got for the big league club when they brought him up. For a change up there.
It's one thing to keep that fastball sharp pitching out of the bullpen when you're used to starting, especially for a young pitcher. It's a whole different category keeping a secondary pitch or two sharp and something that you have confidence in.
Tried to change up again and missed away. 2 balls and a strike on Suarez.
I think what the Brewers admire about this kid is not the overpowering fastball or the fact that he could be a starter. He's got 3 workable pitches. He exhibits confidence on the mound. He believes he's better than the guy standing at the plate. And when you get to this level, that's 90% of the battle, maybe more.
And he's thrown a couple of good breaking balls here as this innings move forward. That's a pretty good slider right there to Suarez. And 2 to Suarez. Just blew him away with a fastball, and that will end the inning. So Hader comes in and retires 3 in a row. The Reds do get a run and trail 6-3. We've had so much of that. Visit redcross.org or text the word Red Cross, all capital letters, to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Ariel Hernandez set to begin his second inning of work behind Deck McGuire. He gave up 6 runs, 4 earned in 3 innings. Ariel allowed a single and a walk with 1 out, but then got a couple of ground ball outs to retire the side. Vogt, Arcia, Phillips. The scheduled trio in the Brewers' 5th inning. Colorado has a 4-0 lead at the end of 2. But of course, that's in Denver. So, long way to go. We've seen crazy games in the Mile High City. They're only in the 3rd inning in St. Louis. 5-2. Cardinals over the Cubbies. Base hit for Vogt. He slides in with the double. Big swing back.
You look at those last 2 pitches from Ariel Hernandez. The 3-0 pitch, nice and smooth. You're not expecting contact. Good fastball at 97 down at the knees. He tries to hump up on this pitch because he knows he's going to swing 3-1. He leaves it up around the belt and it gets hammered. As I was telling you earlier, it's relaxed confidence when you're on the mound. You have to be able to slow your head down a little bit, slow your body down, and know you can make the pitch. It's the toughest part to learn up here.
Fastball up and into Arcia. Now this is the kind of batter that we talked about earlier. You leave a fastball on the inner half of the plate with Arcia slight bail to his swing and that left foot suspended into the air. You leave one on the inner half. This guy will hit one in the seats. He's got 15 home runs. Now you drop that on him.
Paralyzer.
How good would he be if he could start throwing that consistently?
Oh. You don't have to be so perfect with your fastball if you can throw that bad boy over the plate.
Into center field, and Cozart saves a run for the time being. It's an infield hit. But by Cozart leaving his feet, preventing that ball from going into center field, Vogt will stop at 3rd.
Back-to-back breaking balls by Hernandez, and that ball, instead of starting off the plate and breaking back to the inside corner, it starts middle in and just spins. If that ball has any kind of movement away from Arcia there, he either pops it up or he just flat misses it.
So now Phillips. Runners on the corners, nobody out, ball 1, and Hernandez is all over the place in this inning.
There are some pitchers that come to the big leagues and you tell them, look, you've got to be right on this outside part of the plate. You've got to keep the ball down. With a guy like Hernandez, 90% is better than 100. He's just trying to throw the ball too hard.
They have Hader for the time being standing in the on-deck circle. Phillips, a number 8 batter. And 2 on Phillips.
You almost have to believe that Counsell is going to let Hader hit here. Nobody else throwing in the bullpen.
Now they did have Hughes up the last half inning. Runner going first to second, and a fly ball to short left.
At this throw.
They will not send the runner. Duvall, one of the most accurate and strongest arms in all of baseball, and has proven it all season.
When you throw guys at the plate with regularity, they have a tendency to respect your arm. That ball was not quite deep enough to take a chance on the slow-footed Stephen Vogt running to the plate.
Adam Duvall, of course, leads all major leaguers with 15 outfield assists this year. In fact, the Reds have 39, which is the most among all teams in Major League Baseball.
Luke Farrell is up in the Reds bullpen. This visit appears to be more about strategy with the infielders and what they're going to do with the pitcher coming to the plate than it is about making any type of pitching change.
Well, if you're wondering about Hader, he does not have a plate appearance all year long. I'm a little surprised that they're not hitting for him here. Now, we've not seen the way they burn through their bullpen. You know, that was a crazy weekend series in Chicago. I mean, or here against Chicago. 4 games, incredible emotion, tight, late every game except for the series finale. And we asked Hader to bunt, and it's bunted all the way back into the second deck. Well, look, Craig Counsell knows his team better than we ever will. But here in the bottom of the 5th, 3-run game against a team that can hit like the Reds. They send the runner. Suarez makes a catch, throws blindly over to first. And back in time is Arcia, 2 down in the inning. See if that decision maybe comes back to haunt Craig Counsell. I mean, it doesn't matter who you send up there. You're not guaranteed you're going to get a run in, but you certainly like your chances a lot better with a position player than a guy who's not hit at the big league level all year. Even to put down a bunt, you don't like your chances.
Comes down to, do you think Hader is going to go back out and shut down the Reds for an inning or 2 more? Or should I put somebody at the plate that maybe could hit me a 3-run jack, right?
So here's Thames after the stolen base by Arcia. Thames a couple of hits. He had a double leading off the game into right center, scored, flied out to right in the second. And here we are in the 5th inning. He will be intentionally walked. This is the 4th time through the Milwaukee Brewers batting order tonight already. Second walk given up by Ariel Hernandez. They are loaded for Neil Walker.
I know that Thames has hit the Reds well here in 2017, but you've got a pitcher on the mound that has a tendency to be wild, and you've got a batter at the plate that has a phenomenal eye. He's already walked 2 times tonight, Neil Walker. And he swings at the first pitch, a changeup.
Well, you look at the Reds defenders, and they are. I tell you what's even more incredible about how great the Reds defense has been this year is how many pitchers they have that literally have the capability of putting you to sleep. We saw Cozart there doing exercises, trying to stretch out. I mean, the Reds maybe more than any other team, but with all the walks, and they lead the league in walks, there's a lot of standing around. Yet they keep making plays. There's a fly ball to left, so Hernandez gets out of the inning unscathed. This is still a 3-run game.
On the board, Scott Schebler caught a cutter in off the plate, and he hit it out down the right field line. Gave the Reds 2 runs on the board, cut the game to a 4-2 game at the time. With an error by Jeanette in the 3rd, that changes things. 30 home runs for 3 different players in a Reds uniform here in 2017.
How about that? Look at that name in 1970, our late great dear friend Lee May. No, you're right. They're not done yet. Because you've got Scooter Gennett that has 27. I mean, the way he's gone this year, it's not out of the realm of possibility he hits 3 home runs this week. Reds will be wrapping up the season at Wrigley Field. Maybe you go rolling in there and the wind's blowing out 3 straight days.
It could happen.
I mean, the Cubbies will have it wrapped up.
Know.
They'll have it wrapped up. They'll be ready to go. You know, a lot of times this season, the clinching is happening so late compared to most years that you're not going to not only not see, there's just simply not enough time for shutdown mode.
No.
I mean, you want guys on Saturday and Sunday to play and to be ready to go. So if the Cubs, for example, who the magic number is down to 1, if they win tonight or the Brewers lose tonight, you might see Joe Madden give his regular players tomorrow off, Thursday off, maybe rest a handful of them on Friday. But I'll bet you when the Reds play their Saturday and Sunday, you're going to see some regulars in the lineup.
You'll see maybe one guy come out per day.
Yeah.
Maybe the starters come out after the 5th or 6th inning.
Oh boy! Hold that thought, Cowboys. Speaking of the Cubs, let's send it back to Jeff Pecoro for an update on the Cubs and Cardinals. All right, pick. Thank you very much. That was fouled back and out of play. Bader's come in and retired 4 straight batters. He got a sac fly RBI facing Votto, then struck out Jeanette, Suarez, and Schebler now consecutive. Cowboy, you were starting to say that. You know what? You and I, we are the same age, and now we're acting like it. Because I threw it to you. You were starting to say something, Cowboy. You were starting to say. I had no idea what you were just saying. I'd forgot. And you mouthed the words to me. I don't remember.
I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah, we were talking about the Cubs and sitting guys for Joe Madden.
That's good stuff.
It's TV for you. The middle of a thought. Let's cut to the studio.
Yeah, but I like the part of being able to forget we were both talking. I think that's good stuff. Anyway, you were saying.
You're going to sit some of your guys, but you can't afford to take your foot off of the accelerator. That's the big key. I think the Dodgers would be the first to tell you that long winning streak, that was all fine and good. But once they lost a game and things started to get a little sideways, it's tough to get that mojo back. And you don't want to lose any mojo here in the last week of the season.
Well, I tell you, he's got some mojo working tonight as Hader, because all we had heard from those that have watched the Brewers play pretty regularly when they were in Cincinnati and then again before the game tonight was, you know, he just hasn't found yet that all-speed stuff. And ever since hanging that breaking ball to Votto, the first pitch he came in, Votto fouled it off. He hung a breaking ball to Jeanette, which he fouled off.
And that next one was a little dewdrop in.
That's right. They've all been good. Even a good changeup. That one hooked into left field, and he mows through the order 1, 2, 3.
Maybe that's why Craig Counsell let him hit.
Just get him out. Well, the big days in the wintertime come your way at the Fox Sports Ohio Reds Fest. It's presented by PNC Bank, and the dates December 1st and 2nd at the Duke Energy Convention Center. It's incredible. I mean, if you're a fan, it is the place to be. Current Reds, former Reds, there's autographs, photos, more. Reds Fest. Visit Reds.com/RedsFest. That is the highlight of the winter months.
I think that's as good as it gets.
No doubt about it.
For a fan. For folks that follow the Reds and are around baseball. I mean, even for the kids that their attention span is only going to be for about 30 minutes. You take them back there to the back part of the convention center and put them on that field, that Gorilla Glue field where they're hitting the home run derby.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's incredible. I mean, it's the best. The Reds have gone to their bullpen. What a special moment he had over the weekend, right? With his dad in town managing the Red Sox, Luke Farrell.
I thought he handled that rather well. That's a pretty pressure-packed moment.
Take care of Ryan Braun on one pitch to begin the inning.
Not only are you facing the American League East leaders in the Boston Red Sox,
yep,
your old man is the manager, and you're creating history on the mound when you come in. It's not like Luke Farrell has been around the big leagues for 15 years. That's a tough spot for a kid.
Hernandez got himself in a little bit of trouble in both innings that he was in the game. He allowed 2 base runners in the 4th. He allowed the bases loaded in the 5th, but did not give up, when all was said and done, a single run. Luke wears number 52, and that is the same number that his father wears as the manager of the Boston Red Sox, and in the 9th inning of that 5-0 loss became the first major league player to appear in a game against his manager father since Moises Alou of the Cubs against Felipe Alou. Yep. Great stuff. Great stuff.
You know, I think everybody in the stadium could feel the tension of that moment, especially when he walked the batter and you could see his dad, you could see Luke on the mound. I mean, at one point, you couldn't even hear a pin drop at Great American Ballpark. I mean, it was quiet. I mean, I was like, oh, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean,
you know, you kept looking at John in the third base dugout. He couldn't smile. He couldn't make a smirk. Couldn't pull for his kid. And you're watching your boy out there try to get it done against your team.
Ground ball is short off the bat of Shaw.
That would be what I would term a loud out.
That it was.
I mean, a bullet back up the middle. You just happen to have Zach playing in the perfect spot.
Meanwhile, they are in the bottom of the 4th inning in Denver. Rockies scored 4 times in the 1st inning against Urania. How good a year has he had? Oh man, 14-game winner, ERA in the low 3s. We saw him pitch a spectacular game this year at Great American Ballpark. I think he's got a chance to be one of the really good pitchers moving forward if he stays healthy. That's always a big question. Foul ball out of play. That's Jose Urania.
You know, but the thing about playing in Denver, you can have a 10-run lead going into the 7th and lose 11-10.
That's exactly right.
I mean, if you're Bud Black, the manager of the Rockies, better have some pretty good antacid.
Well, he's done an incredible job there. I mean, for me, I don't know how you feel about it, but if they make the playoffs, he's a landslide manager of the year for me.
I think he's done a phenomenal job.
Troy Lavello's done a great job.
Done a great job. I think Lavello changed the whole culture in that clubhouse in Arizona.
Nice 1-2-3 inning by Farrell. Blows away Santana. We're off to the seventh. Highlighted by a 3-run home run by Domingo Santana against Tech McGuire. Reds got a 2-run home run from Shebler, number 30, to get on the board. That came in the second inning off Zach Davies. So a 2-run game with 2-1 and 2 out in the third inning. Should have been the final out, but an errant throw by Jeanette allowed 2 runs to score. That made it 6-2. Reds got a run back in the fifth on a Hamilton triple and a Votto fly ball. Still Hader out there. 6 up, 6 down for this left-hander. Out of Craig Counsell's bullpen with 4 strikeouts of the 6 he's faced. Patrick Kivlehan to bat for the pitcher. Luke Farrell, a perfect inning for Farrell. And that's another strikeout. 5 of them now for Hader. This is one of the advantages of having a guy in your minor leagues that begins the year as a starting pitcher, where you really stretch him out. Now, he was not having a good year statistically, but bear in mind, I mean, one, it's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's hard to do, pitching at that kind of altitude. The other part of it was it's his first year at that level. So for the first 2.5 months, you're probably pitching in a lot of really bad weather in that league. I'm not making excuses for the guy, but he's their number 2 ranked prospect, and he was having an awful year. But the bottom line is he was getting stretched out. So when they bring him up here now, you can leave him in there for 3 innings out of your bullpen and not worry about it.
That's a tough part about developing as a pitcher in a very hitter-friendly environment, and Colorado Springs is that. You don't get rewarded very often for good pitches. And as a minor leaguer coming through the system, no matter where you are, you want to have some type of build of confidence as you move along. And those types of ballparks, they reward the hitters and they build sometimes false confidence. But for a pitcher, beats you down a little bit. But on the flip side with that, very similar to Pensacola for the Reds. If you can hit in Pensacola, you can hit in the big leagues. If you can pitch in Colorado Springs, you got it made up here.
Well, I mean, he's just blowing people away. And it's not like he's throwing 98. He's got that Cingrani-like fastball up around the letters, and everybody just swings at him.
This kid hides the ball awfully well. Starts with a closed stance. Ball comes out of the back of that hat, and all that hair he's got flying. Tough to pick up. But you like this kid's aggressiveness. He comes after you. He's not intimidated by the moment.
I mean, he cuts it loose and he walks almost all the way down to the catcher to get that ball from the umpire, as if to say, just give me the ball and let's go. There's no fooling around. Gets a sign and he's set. Look at him. I'm sprinting down that mound wanting a new ball. So let's go. Defense, they're on their toes. They know this guy's throwing strikes.
Well, we heard it earlier from some of the position players with the Reds. Jeanette, Cozart talked about this. Luis Castillo for the Reds, when he takes the mound, he has a presence. He is confident. He works quick. Hitters are on their toes. They make great plays behind him. The same is true of this young man. He gets the ball and he's coming after you.
He has thrown 34 pitches, 7 balls. 7.
And let's face it, he's not nitpicking on the inside and outside corner. He's saying, here it is. See if you can hit my stuff. But he's moving the ball around.
Those are hanging in there. Last time we saw Hader, he was throwing a lot harder than he is tonight. That was his best fastball of the night right there at 95. But he has a better slider and a better changeup tonight than the last time we saw him. That's been just short of a month ago.
One of the things that you have to develop over a period of time at this level. You're going to have different physical feel of the baseball and of your body each day when you go out to the mound, whether you're a starter or a reliever. You have to adapt to what you have on that given day.
Clearly getting a little frustrated with all the foul balls that Cozart had on his fastball. So now he's tried to go change up, breaking ball. Missed badly with both. And now he'll walk back behind the mound. Prior to this 3-2 pitch on Cozart, he's retired all 8, or all 7, I should say, batters he has faced so far. No, it's 8. You got Votto to start it.
And 5 via the strikeout.
4th time since they brought him to the big leagues. He's trying to get through 3 innings. Pull foul. Miami batting in the top of the 5th inning. Still Colorado 4-0 in front. Good at bat here by Cozart, making him work. now pitch number 10 in this at bat. Pretty incredible when you think that this guy's only thrown 39 pitches, facing 9 batters. Straight away, or deep left center field, I should say, hit a long way. And that one is out of here. Cozart, what an at bat. 10 pitch at bat, capped off with a home run to left center field. And that makes it a 2-run game. What a great at bat for Cozart, his 24th home run of the season.
Three straight fastballs on a 3-2 count. And I imagine Stephen Vogt went to the mound and said, hey, let's make this guy swing it. But he did. Now Votto. We talked about the Reds having 6 players with 20+ home runs. Cozart hits another one. They'll have 6 with 25 home runs.
Votto in the game is 0 for 1. Bounced out to first in the first to since walking. Knocked in a run with a fly ball to left in the 5th. I think Hader felt like that was a strike.
It was low.
Yeah. Votto thought it was ball 4.
That's that fastball away from arm side. And he just does catch that front corner of the plate.
This matchup right here is the way baseball is meant to be played. There's not been any fooling around. There's not been, that's the first time now, Hader, as soon as I bring it up, he's going to go to the rosin bag. There's already been in this at bat 6 pitches in this at bat, and these two guys have been flying through this at bat.
And that's after an 11 pitch at bat.
That's right.
By Cozart.
It's the way the game's supposed to be played. Got to wonder, well, with Jeanette coming up, there's no way they're going to come get him yet. He's got, what, 47 pitches. Now Craig Counsell was just going to give him a little breather. They've got Swarzak ready in the bullpen. It was a 10-pitch at bat, a home run by Cozart. Votto making Hader work, and maybe just a quick pep talk, saying he got one more. Jeanette 0 for 3. His fly to center, bounced into a double play and struck out. Reds are only down 2, so Jeanette the tying run at the plate. That'll trickle into center field, a base hit. So I would imagine Craig Counsell will have to come get him. With a right-handed batting Suarez coming up, or Willie.
Yeah, I think he's going to come get him.
Yep, here he comes. So we will take a break in the action. This will be a double switch, it looks like. Swarzak is ready. Reds have a tying run aboard. Go ahead, run at the plate when we come back.
Football weekend as the Bengals, Bearcats, and Wildcats all look to bounce back from tough losses this past weekend. Plus, look ahead to their games this week and previews of the other local college football teams. Tri-State Tailgate with Jeff Picoro and Tony Pike is Thursday at 6 p.m. on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go.
New pitcher for the Brewers, Anthony Swarzak. He's no kid. He's been around a while. Pitched quite a few years in the big leagues with the Minnesota Twins. Pitched for the Indians and the Yankees. Put together quite a year coming out of the bullpen. 2-0 with a 1.8 ERA in his 26 appearances in a Brewer uniform. That's his numbers overall in 60, now 8 appearances.
Part of the double switch, Hernan Perez will take over out in right. And it's ball 1 to Suarez, who has 26 home runs on the year. And he's a go-ahead run at the plate. Broken bat flare. Center field base hit. They're going to wave Votto. He'll score. And now the Reds within a run.
First hit for Eugenio Suarez since coming off the paternity list. And he dumps it in there for a base hit and gets an RBI as well.
When all of this started, I mean, Hader was just cruising along. But then a 10-pitch at bat by Cozart, who hit a solo home run. Votto followed with a walk. A little dribbler through the infield by Jeanette. Now a little flare by Suarez, and before you know it, the Reds have a tying run in scoring position. Swing and a miss by Chevy.
There are just not many games when the Reds and the Brewers hook up that are not highly offensive. I don't care who's in first, who's in last, where they are. It's just the way these two play.
Of any season series played between teams in baseball this year, the Reds and the Brewers, the combined number of runs scored on average per game is the highest of any in baseball. The Reds and the Cubs are second. Wandy Peralta is ready to go in the Reds bullpen. Asher Wojciechowski was up alongside of him a short while ago, and now it's just Peralta. Chevrolet waiting on an 0-2 pitch. That was no contest. Chevrolet just blown away by Schwarber. But the Reds get 2, and it started on a home run by Cozart. We got a ball game, middle of 7th, Milwaukee 6, and the Reds 5. game right here on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And we take a look ahead to tomorrow. Homer Bailey, Brandon Woodruff.
Veteran against the rookie.
That'll be Bailey's last start of the year. How about that group right there? They call themselves the Kegheads.
I don't think I've seen that before. We'll roll out the barrel.
I mean, if a egghead can have a place in this world, why not a keghead?
Or a cheesehead, for that matter.
That's well said. What would life be without cheeseheads? As Wandy Peralta comes on the pitch here in the bottom of the seventh. Vote a pair of doubles is also struck out. Brewers with a 1-run lead. We are in the bottom of the seventh inning. Peralta's fourth time that he has pitched since he missed 14 games with a right hip flexor strain. He's not given up a run since coming back. If there is one guy on this Reds team more than anybody else who has had a quote-unquote breakthrough season, it would be Wandy Peralta.
Peralta on the pitching side, Suarez at third base on the everyday player side.
That is a third double tonight for Vogt.
Stephen Vogt had 4 doubles coming into this ball game tonight, and he's got 3 in this ball game.
So now Arcia. Reds are wondering if they would ask Arcia to put down a bunt here. Votto's already in on the grass at third.
I don't think so. I think they'll let him swing.
Peralta to the plate. No sign of a bunt. Ball 1.
You've got a runner in scoring position with nobody out. You're leading by 1. If you're Craig Counsell, you'd like to try to play for a bigger inning. And if you're playing for a bigger inning, you don't give away an out.
And 1 on Arcia. Hit off the end of the bat and a dribbler foul. Yeah, Phillips, a left-handed batter, due up next. And then you have Hernan Perez, where you made the double switch. And Swarback came in the game in the top of the 7th inning. Colorado is just blasting Miami. It is 6-0 in the 6th inning. This will advance a runner. Cozart to the glove side. And the throw in time, but Bode stands at third with 1 out. And Phillips will be called back from the dugout. And here comes the big fella.
This is the guy that we showed you earlier that Arcia and Zach Davies had his pants on, and they were both in them.
Yeah.
One in one leg, one in the other.
Remember, that was a guy last time you and I did a series together. And here's that picture if you didn't see it earlier. Those are the pants this cat's got on that's walking to the plate right now. That was a guy I told you that day I went down to the Brewers clubhouse to see Greg Counsell. And this guy walked by. Hey, look. I've seen some pretty big dudes doing it in football games from time to time. And there are guys that are physically bigger than Aguilar. But I've not seen many baseball players bigger than this guy.
He's a big fella.
He is an animal.
He's big poppy big.
No doubt about it.
The thing about Jesus Aguilar, we saw him quite a bit in a Cleveland Indians uniform in spring training. Just never had a spot to play to break into the big league level with the Indians.
Well, this guy's been virtually the most destructive hitter as a pinch hitter in baseball this year.
He has been something for Greg Counsell off the bench.
57 at bats, 3 home runs and 10 runs batted in. That's as a pinch hitter.
And really can drive the ball to the right center field gap.
And the thing he'll tell you, not only has he done it, but he has been in starts one of the most clutch hitters they have on this team. When you have 270 at bats and you got 15 bombs, 15 doubles, and 49 batted in, you're hitting when it matters. 1 ball and 1 strike. That is a nasty changeup right there by Peralta. Runner at third, 1 out. Started 2 and laid off. Another changeup, wasn't it?
Yes.
I think they know that if you're going to throw this dude a fastball, you better make sure it's in the right spot. Because if it's not, it will end up in the wrong spot.
Elevated, and it better be in.
Three straight changeups. And Aguilar doesn't bite. Reds have Shackelford, a right-hander, getting ready in the bullpen.
Now that's not a bad walk for me there. You don't want to give in to a guy like Aguilar. Now granted, he's coming off the bench. But you're trying to do whatever you can not to allow the Brewers another run. You've got 1 out in the inning. You've got Hernan Perez, a right-handed batter, coming to the plate. You've got a chance for a double play ball here.
So Perez bats for the first time. 453 plate appearances, a .262 batter. He is one of the biggest Reds killer they have on this team.
And he has played everywhere. He has been the Energizer Bunny for this Brewer club. He plays all over the place, plays with phenomenal enthusiasm. He's a Craig Counsell kind of player.
How about his numbers this year against the Reds? It's almost hard to believe that when the Reds play this team, this guy's not in the lineup every game. For the year, he has 14 home runs and 50 batted in, okay, for the year. Against the Reds, he has 14 of the 50 runs batted in and 3 home runs. Keon Broxton running for Aguilar. Over at first, and he'll stay in the game to play defense. He'll stay in to play center. Straight away center field. And this will be deep enough to bring in the run. 15 of his 51 runs batted in have come against the Reds this year. So the sac fly run batted in. It all started with a double by Vogt. And the Brewers get one of the 2 the Reds scored in the top of this inning. And the lead goes back from 1 to 2.
Broxton going back to first base as soon as Peralta releases his foot from the ground.
Ames here in the 7th inning, and he's already stepping to the plate for the 5th time. Brewers have 10 base hits. They've drawn, what, 5 walks. Pile of base runners. There goes the runner. Throw to second base. They're not going to get Keon Broxton.
Boy, he had some kind of jump off Peralta there.
Broxton can run. He and BR are the 2 best runners on his team. Now Wandy going back to the rosin bag. Settles on the rubber. We'll see a pitching change. You know, you have a right switch hitter in Walker next. He's a better left-handed hitter than right-handed hitter. Runner will advance to third as that swing and a miss pitch went in the dirt and got away from Barnhart. 3-2.
Slider down and away. Looked like it caught the front edge of the plate, maybe the back edge. Tucker went down to block it, and as it hit him, it just spins off behind the batter.
Strike 3 called, and Thames knew it. A run, a hit, a man left. We go to the 8th. Milwaukee 7, the Reds 5. All righty, Pick. Thank you very much. Here we are in the top of the 8th inning. And the Brewers with a 2-run lead. Swarback came on to get the final out. As we've speculated, Keon Broxton stays in the game to play center field. Swarzak came on to get that final out in the Reds' 2-run 7th. Hader wound up being charged for a couple of runs after looking nearly unhittable. Pretty nifty play there by the home plate umpire. How about that? Good reaction time.
Well, if you're going to call balls and strikes at the aptitude of these guys, you got to follow the ball all the way in. And he did, and all the way into his hands.
Well done indeed by Bill Welke. 2-2 on Duvall, who's had a couple of hits tonight. Strike 3. Two strikeouts now for Swarzak.
Swarzak got a couple of strikeouts, got a couple of fastballs ahead of Schebler earlier. Went up for strike 3, does the same thing here to Duvall. A fastball looks so good when it's right at your hands. And as you start to swing, especially at 96, tough to hit up there.
Ball one on Barnhart. Jesse Winker has moved into the on-deck circle. Reds are starting to run out of outs. They have 5 to play with, down by 2. Michael Lorenzen is throwing in the Reds bullpen. Shackelford was up earlier. Shackelford's still down there.
They're both throwing now.
Tucker 1 of 3. He had a double back in the second inning. Brewers got 4 in the first off Deck McGuire. Reds got a 2-run home run by Schebler in the second. 2 unearned runs on a Jeanette throwing error in the bottom of the third made it a 4-run game, and ever since then the Reds have chipped away. They got 1 back in the 5th, 2 more in the 7th, so pull within a single run before the Brewers got a run in the bottom of the 7th inning off of Wandy Peralta.
Swarzak has got that slow, easy motion and then just jumps at you with that fastball.
Ball lifted into left center field. And Ryan Braun there to get it.
Swarzak almost pitching out of the stretch, just slow and easy, and then bam. Straight over the top, 4-seam fastball. Pitch looks like it's right down around mid-thigh, but in actuality, it's above the belt right at the hands. A lot of times with that fastball, especially when he's ahead in the count.
So it will be Winker to come up and bat for Wandy Peralta, who goes an inning, allows a hit and a run. Take a look at that. It's like a football player, right? Wide receiver looking at the playbook. It's probably the scouting report with all the young guys that have been brought up.
I've seen outfielders. We saw Randall Grichuk the other night pull something out of the back of his pocket with a pitch hitter that the Reds announced. He's looking exactly where he's supposed to play.
Down the right field line, and Winker plays long ball. First pitch off the bench. And it's back to a 1-run ball game.
There's now 7 home runs for Jesse Winker. Breaking ball, middle in. I mean, that was not one of those towering home runs. It was just squared up, line drive, gone.
Two of the home runs now by Winker have come off the bench as a pinch hitter. You know, Winker, I guess, I'm not going to say got rather short, but he made it very clear to, I guess, some of the writers that were asking him the other day about, you know, looking ahead to next year. There's a big article written in the paper today about, you know, 2 seasons at AAA and only the 5 home runs and 679 at bats. And he basically said, I'm not talking about that anymore. He said, I've proven, and these were his words, that I am capable of hitting in the major leagues. Hustling up the line, Hamilton, but thrown out to retire the side. Home run by Winker off the Reds bench. Milwaukee bats in the 8th inning. It's been a wild one again here tonight. A 7-6 Brewers lead.
shot at the Swing for Your Seats event Saturday, October 7th. Step up to the plate, hit a home run, and get your 2018 season tickets for free. For additional information, call 513-765-7500 or visit reds.com/swing. Rules and restrictions do apply. And gentlemen, I will tell you that 2 people hit home runs last year. 2 of them earned season tickets, so this isn't one of these fly-by-the-night things where it's a really, really hard chance at it and a very little chance at it. 2 people, 1 season tickets.
How about that? Hopefully they'll be able to pull it off again. Somebody, maybe more than somebody. Michael Lorenzen takes over on the mound. Cowboy, I'm going to throw you on a spot here for a minute, and forgive me for doing this. But I'm curious, you and I don't get to work together a ton over here on the TV side. And I'm curious, looking back now, and I know we have a week left in the season, but it shouldn't make any difference as to your thoughts on this, and you've never been shy about giving them. Before this season began, Brian Price talked a lot about going back to the old days in terms of the way he was going to use his bullpen. Meaning more than 1 inning, guys coming in for more than 1 inning, the capability and the ability to pitch 2 innings as their strike 3, in some cases more than 2 innings. And it seems like as that is played this season, that has really fallen onto the right arms of only 2 pitchers on this Reds team.
Lorenzen, Iglesias.
Yes. At the end of the day, has it been a good thing or not a good thing?
No. I think that the lack of consistent arms in the Reds bullpen early in the season really forced Brian to do that, to at least create some semblance of a winning atmosphere early in the season. But what it has done is it has taken a taxing effect, especially on Michael Lorenzen, because there are times where Lorenzen would come out and pitch 3 innings. He's going to take the ball every time that you ask him to. He wants the ball every day. The problem that you have with a kid that's aggressive and wants to pitch, he's going to be up a ton in the bullpen, which he was, and those don't even account as appearances, but yet it's still taxing the arm in the bullpen even when you get loose and don't come into the game. Then you get up the next night, you throw, you might get up 2 or 3 times, all of a sudden you're in the game, you pitch 3 innings. 2 days later, you're pitching an inning. The effect that it took on Lorenzen early in the season, I think, is the reason that he has a 6+ ERA in the second half.
What about on Iglesias?
I think for Iglesias, the toughest part for any closer is to come in the 8th inning when your adrenaline is sky high. You come and sit down, and then you've got to go back out and recreate.
Well, I tell you, Lorenzen's dealing tonight. I mean, he is coming in throwing gas.
It's not just gas, it's located gas.
Yes.
Watch where this pitch is. You don't want to hit that. That's down around the bottom of the kneecaps with movement. That ball started off the plate, came back right to the corner. When Lorenzen is locating, he's as good as anybody.
What do you think about the idea that Brian Price has floated around, and Lorenzen's made no bones about it? He wants to get a crack as a starter, and the idea of looking at him as a starting pitcher in spring training next year. Like that idea or no?
Yeah, I think he can do it. You just have to give him a shot. But he's not going to be a guy that's going to give you 200 innings. You can forget about that. Not right now.
Reds will bat tonight. against the New York Islanders October the 6th. Countdown to face-off presented by local participating Wendy's. Zach Cozart to lead things off. He had the 10-pitch at bat against the pitcher that looked to be unhittable tonight in Hader. Bases were empty, 2 outs in the 7th inning, and Cozart club number 24 in the 10th pitch of the at bat. Corey Knebel, meanwhile, is a Milwaukee closer. He will take over here in the 9th inning.
121 strikeouts in 73 innings for the All-Star. He's only allowed 45 hits in 73 innings. Very difficult to string consecutive hits together to beat this guy. You want to catch him with a long ball.
Swarzak goes an inning and a third, allows a couple of hits and the home run to Winker. Sogard saw him taking over at second base. Part of the order for the Reds against this Milwaukee closer. Reds are down a run. We are in the top of the 9th inning.
It's only fitting that the game comes down to their best against your best.
Short left center field. Keon Broxton to get it. Billy Hamilton's the best defensive center fielder in this league. Broxton's not far behind. He's mighty good.
Got a great jump on the ball, and he closed in a hurry.
Well, he has made some spectacular catches over the course of this year. Alvaro. 2 walks, a run scored, a run batted in on a fly ball. He's 0 for 1 officially.
Knebel is proud of that fastball, and he's going to throw it.
I'll tell you what, though, for the life of me, I just don't get the whole thing about being afraid to throw strikes to anybody. Even the biggest home run hitters in the league have 600 at bats, 500 and something at bats. They get, in Votto's case, you got 30 something home runs. There's a base hit in the right field and a 3-0 pitch. I just don't understand it. Brian Price said the same thing a couple weeks ago when he was asked about it. He said, I don't get it.
It ultimately comes down to the mentality of trying to make too good of a pitch. You don't want to leave the ball in the middle of the plate, so you try to pitch to the outer thirds. Anything that you do out of the ordinary, front shoulder flies, you push off too hard, you're a little too aggressive, the ball has a tendency to either cut or sink away from it.
Philip Irvin takes over as a pinch runner for Joey Votto. That is the tying run there at first base, and Scooter Gennett the batter. He was trying to give his team a lead. A little better than 30,000 in attendance here tonight. The team opened up a 4-run lead early on, twice in fact, 4-0 and then 6-2. And the Reds have clawed back to within 1 here in the 9th inning. Looks to be a night where Milwaukee can't gain ground on Colorado. Rockies are leading 6-0. The question becomes, will they lose ground to Colorado should the Reds rally?
Not exactly the guy in the Reds lineup that you want to allow to keyhole a fastball. And now on a 2-1 pitch, you've either got to make the perfect pitch down and away, or you're giving Jeanette a chance. I think Scooter Jeanette wakes up in the morning thinking fastball.
Runner goes. And Urban is in there with a stolen base.
Got a big leg kick from Knebel. Stephen Vogt. He may hit well, but he does not throw well to second base.
Urban 4 out of 5 in stolen base attempts, and that's a very limited playing time. You can see some of the tools here with Urban. I know what his minor league numbers tell you, but in this stint with the Reds, he's played good baseball. At the plate, in the field, and running the bases. Fouled out of play. Now they put him out in center field a couple of times. You can tell he's not a center fielder, but that's not his fault. Or he didn't look to be, at least a couple of games we saw him. You agree with that?
I would agree.
Not to say he can't be.
Not quite as polished as you would like your center fielder to be at the big league level.
Of course, we've been spoiled.
Yeah.
3-2 now on Scooter Jeanette. Knebel to the plate. Chase ball 4. Of course, that's coming at you at 98 miles per hour. Well, that's a pretty nice pitch. I said ball 4. I mean, that was right on that corner.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, it's a pitch you've got to go after. But that was what I was talking about earlier. With Jeanette, you put it right on the outside corner or off. You get that ball over the plate with a little white, you've got a chance to hit it out.
All right, now it's Suarez. Brewers trying to keep pace in the wild card race. After tonight, they will have 5 games left in this season, and more than likely, barring a huge swing, which is conceivable in Colorado, they would still get up tomorrow, and instead of 6 to go, there would be 5 to go, and a game and a half still back in the wild card. But this one not over yet. That's Urban, the tying run at second. Suarez has 26 home runs on the year. He's already knocked in a run tonight. And now 1-2. Tying run is Urban at second base. 2 outs in the ninth. 2-2 pitch to Suarez. In the air down the right field line. And game over. Down into that corner went Hernan Perez. And another wild game between these two teams. And this time the Brewers come out on top. 7-6. Our final score. Back with more in a moment.